And here's more about Trump. Anyway, since he completely pushed the gray KGB officer Putin off the political horizon, Trump, as is known, promised a sensation during his speech in Congress. And what became clear from Trump's speech, it became clear that any president of a country, any country, has about 4 or 5 years. And during this time, he can, without haste, calmly, gradually, month by month, prove to the population that they messed up again by choosing a fool who is absolutely incapable of changing life for the better. It's generally difficult to change it for the better, especially it's inaccessible. For presidents, a new one is quite capable of fiery speeches, of declarations, but he cannot do anything tangibly good. This is a natural political process, the very real democracy. And haste in this matter is inappropriate. It is very important for a president to be able to stretch the disappointment in himself over his entire term, revealing himself gradually, go consistently, so that the disappointment of the masses would not collapse. Well, Trump is not like that, Donald Trump. He decided to immediately dispel any illusions about himself and created the Martian Chronicles of Donald Trump, which I announced, as a matter of fact, at the Congress session. And Trump's speech allowed him to shatter any hopes of Americans and the world. In general, for any improvements, it became clear that the voters had made another fatal mistake capable of ruining life for everyone, including even the most loyal Trumpists, searching for meaning in what he said over an hour and a half or an hour and 40. Biden, it's a tough and pointless job because, after all, they are Rorschach verbal blots in which everyone can search for meaning depending on the severity of their diagnosis. Yes. But since the president hurried to debunk his persona essentially by telling that he is predominantly a braggart, then the population will likely be forced to not delay in getting rid of Trump. And he most likely will indeed wait for quite real impeachment. At the very least, he is a very probable candidate, so that the main intrigue will still not be the planting of flags on Mars and beyond, as Trump promised, but rather when and how the USA will eventually oust old Donald, and whether he will have time to move his favorite service and beautiful wife out of the White House. But it must be said that the Democrats, Trump's opponents, who promised a big scandal, a boycott, were not very convincing. The scandal was weak, simply because probably they still haven't recovered from the shock. In general, it's even a pity that the United States currently doesn't have an acute need, for example, for a Great Depression. That's something Trump would have organized quickly, reliably, guaranteed, and with flair. And that's something he would definitely succeed at. But in his entire speech, there really is no need to look for meaning. And the experienced Trump also knows that it's not worth worrying about and putting any meaning into it, because everyone will understand exactly what they want to in their own way. And this, it must be said, is a great art, an art on the verge of nonsense. But it is precisely this that is the most effective rhetoric. This was proven by Hitler, because the times of Cicero, Demosthenes, Disraeli, they are completely over. Now, meaningful speeches, if you will, are only within the walls of academic auditoriums. theoretical physics, biology, evolutionary, and with us in extracts, in general meaning, is not at all in high regard. In Russia itself, it has become the most hated component of politics and public speeches. But what about Trump? Trump, having spoken in Congress, proved that as a Martian, he has in general quite succeeded and earned a place on the dusty board of Martian honor, and his image is quite worthy to adorn. The Martian habeas chasma. It's there. And in the rock formations of Mars, there is such an amazing deep canyon, but that's okay anyway. He really sculpted the hunchback without putting any meaning into his ritual. The only thing worth discussing from Trump's passages and his behavior is his contribution to medicine. It is truly great. And there is innovation in this. The fact is, Trump showed himself not only as an experienced rover and beyond, but also as a doctor. He undertook to treat the military problem, uniquely original. His first patient was Zelensky and Ukraine, and it turned out that Trump has his own method. He treats the patient by cutting off sometimes oxygen, sometimes blood, sometimes sprinkling broken glass under the back, or delivering sudden blows with an IV. And this is truly a real innovation, but he can also throw scalpels into the sufferer's body. This is Dr. Trump. This, by the way, is about how today suddenly part of the Ukrainian armed forces was cut off from American intelligence, partly from American intelligence information. But Trump makes another mistake. He disrupts the usual traditional continuity of US policy, which has always pressured every dictatorial scoundrel, cannibals, bloodsuckers, and war criminals in the corners. And this was the hallmark of the states. For the Americans themselves, this continuity is a very important thing. And they do not agree, just like that, to take the whole nation and register as absolutely bad guys and accomplices of a maniac killer. Just because many years ago, Trump, under a KGB camera as a guest in Moscow, did something inappropriate somewhere and was caught on camera. That is, Americans react painfully and are already reacting to this break in political continuity. And aid to Ukraine, it did not spoil American life in any way, and stopping the aid will not improve it either.